WBAY TV, your first alert station. Action 2 News at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Jeff and Sarah are off today. Brittany will join us in just a few minutes. This first alert update, a 65-year-old Green Bay man known both locally and internationally as Uncle Fester is now in jail facing drug charges. City and county SWAT teams executed a search warrant at this home on the 800 block of Bayard Street this morning. According to Brown County land records, a man named Stephen Priestler owns this property. He's been booked into the Brown County Jail on 3 felony drug charges, including the manufacture of methamphetamine and maintaining a drug house. As we first showed you live at noon, that house has become the focus of an all-day drug investigation. And our Brittany Schmidt joining us live from that active investigation in this first alert update. Brittany.
Cammie, I'm told this is a sight for sore eyes as neighbors have had to put up with this home as well as the alleged drug activity for years. Investigators have been out here since 6 a.m. They are still here. It is very active. A constant flow of investigators all day going in and out of the home here on Bayard Street. The hazmat team carrying out chemicals and placing them in the driveway there. You can see a ton of buckets as well. I talked to Green Bay Alderman Bill Galvin this afternoon. He represents this neighborhood and he says he's been aware of Stephen Priestler for a very long time and calls him a dangerous man. Galvin, who served more than 30 years with Green Bay Police, knows him as Uncle Fester, an amateur chemist who has written and published books about making illegal drugs. One of his books is called Home Workshop Explosives. Another is called Silent Death.
His claim to fame originally was he wrote out a recipe on how to make ricin and other harmful chemicals, and he had them printed and put out for the public to use. They believe his recipe was used in a terrorist attack on a subway system in Japan several years ago. And after that, he became more of a drug dealer, user, and he actually did like a podcast on how to make meth, showing the person that was interviewing him step by step with all the chemicals and everything on how to do it.
It continues to be all hands on deck here with local and county departments at the scene. As we first updated you on our news app this afternoon, the state is also assisting with this drug investigation. Several people were taken into custody, including the man known as Uncle Fester. Reporting live in Green Bay, Brittany Schmidt, Action 2 News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A 65-year-old Green Bay man known both locally and internationally as Uncle Fester is now in jail facing drug charges.
City and county SWAT teams executed a search warrant at a home on the 800 block of Bayard Street this morning. According
to Brown County land records, a man named Stephen Priestler owns this property. He's been booked into the Brown County Jail on 3 felony drug charges, including the manufacture of amphetamine and maintaining a drug house. As we first showed you live at noon, that house has become the focus of an all-day-long drug investigation.
Brittany Smith joins us now live from the active investigation in a first alert update. Brittany.
Bill and Cammie, it does remain active here at the scene. Investigators have been here since 6 a.m. this morning, going in and out of the home, wearing hazmat suits. Right now, it just kind of looks like they may be taking a break, regrouping at this moment. But around the scene, it's getting a little bit more active as people are getting off of work. They realize that the street is still closed off. People are walking their dog, and they're really wondering what is going on. So here's what I can tell you. A drug investigation is ongoing right now, and a man known by many as Uncle Fester is in custody.
I was telling Green Bay Alderman Bill Galvin represents this neighborhood. He's had his eye on this house on Bayard Street for a long time.
This is a good neighborhood. There's good people. It's unfortunate they've had to put up with the shenanigans and all the stuff that's been going on here for so many years. I mean, there's been drug users in and out of that place. There's fights, disturbances. People find drug paraphernalia around the neighborhood from them.
Brown County land records show Stephen Priestler owns this house, but Galvin knows him by another name.
Recognize that guy?
Yeah, that's him. That's Uncle Fester.
Someone he knows from his decades on the police force.
Those charges don't shock you then?
No, not at all. Especially considering what I've actually seen him put out on video. I mean, it's obvious. You know, this guy is into using drugs and making drugs for others to use.
Uncle Fester is also self-proclaimed online an amateur chemist who has written and published books about making illegal drugs. One of his books is called Home Workshop Explosives. Another is called Silent Death.
His claim to fame originally was he wrote out a recipe on how to make ricin and other harmful chemicals, and he had them printed and put out for the public to use. They believe his recipe was used in a terrorist attack on a subway system in Japan several years ago. And after that, he became more of a drug dealer, user, and he actually did like a podcast on how to make meth, showing the person that was interviewing him step by step with all the chemicals and everything on how to do it.
Chemicals that are extremely dangerous. Our cameras seeing crews working in hazmat suits on Friday. The State Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation is helping local and county authorities with this ongoing drug investigation.
He's dangerous. He's highly intelligent. And he understands his rights, he understands the law, and he knows how to play that game to do what he wants to do, and so far, until today, get away with it. So I'm just hoping that we've done a good job investigating, that we've crossed all our T's, dotted our I's, and we'll see him spending some time in prison.
When they first arrived early this morning.
Earlier this afternoon, they had quite a bit of assumingly chemicals out in the driveway. Those are no longer there. Again, it seems like they are just possibly wrapping up, kind of doing their last minute, moving around the buckets a little bit, but the investigation is ongoing, and I'm told that there is no threat to the community at this time. Reporting live in Green Bay, Brittany Schmidt, Action 2 News. Cammie and Bill, just moments ago, police left the scene. They said that they had everything that they needed for their ongoing drug investigation. The road has been opened up, but this is really the first time that we've gotten close up to the home, so I want to draw your attention to some of the things that were posted on the home behind me here. It already says that the home is condemned, but there's a bright orange one that says, "Warning, do not enter." I want to read a little bit of what that is. It says a clandestine laboratory for manufacture of illegal drugs or hazardous chemicals was seized at this location today. Known hazardous chemicals have been disposed of pursuant to laws, but there could be hazardous substance still on this property or in the ground itself, so they are asking people to be cautious. That was put up by the Wisconsin Department of Justice. Earlier this afternoon, I did talk to Green Bay Alderman Bill Galvin. He represents this neighborhood, and he says he knows the man who lives here, Stephen Priestler. He's known him for a very long time. Galvin, who served more than 30 years with Green Bay Police, knows him as Uncle Fester, an amateur chemist who has written and published books about making illegal drugs. Galvin says his claim to fame is when he wrote and published a recipe telling the public how to make ricin and other harmful chemicals. It is believed his recipe was used in a terrorist attack on a subway system in Japan several years ago.
He's dangerous. He's highly intelligent, and he understands his rights, he understands the law, and he knows how to play that game to do what he wants to do, and so far, until today, get away with it. So I'm just hoping that we've done a good job investigating, that we've crossed all our T's, dotted our I's, and we'll see him spending some time in prison.
The state is helping local and county officials with this ongoing drug investigation. Uncle Fester is one of several people taken into custody today pertaining to this investigation. Reporting live in Green Bay, Brittany Schmidt, Action 2 News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Bill is off tonight. Investigators say the 65-year-old Green Bay man known as Uncle Fester, taken into custody on Friday, had an alleged meth lab in the basement of his home. We were first to show you the law enforcement response on Friday to Stephen Priestler's home on South Baird Street. It was the target of a day-long drug investigation. The home is now condemned, with a warning on the side warning people about dangerous chemicals. Brittany Schmidt was in court for Priestler's first court appearance today. She joins us live in the studio to tell us exactly what happened. Brittany.
Cammie, Priestler appeared via video, but he immediately told the court he's stunned by the complaint and calls the charges bogus. Priestler is facing multiple felony drug charges, including maintaining a drug trafficking home and manufacturing illegal drugs. According to a criminal complaint, authorities orchestrated 2 separate controlled buys at Priestler's house in June. Both substances bought tested positive for meth. On Friday, during a search warrant of Priestler's home, officials say they found enough meth in the house to provide the average user enough of the drug to last them up to 9 years. Investigators say Priestler had up to $65,000 worth of meth for sale. In the basement, officials say they found multiple open containers of chemicals and equipment consistent with an illicit drug lab. Priestler denied those accusations this afternoon.
These charges are mistaken. I think misidentified materials. I had to. The only chemistry I had running in my basement was an amino acid derived experiment checking on the validity of a scientific paper published in 2007 stating that one could get the monomethyl derivative of alanine and a series of other amino acids by using formaldehyde and zinc dust. I ran that experiment myself several times, which they might have mistaken for something else.
Priestler is being held on a $100,000 cash bond and will be back in court in August. Meanwhile, all of the chemicals and illicit drugs officials say they found inside his home have been destroyed by a DCI clear team, while samples were sent off to a state lab for testing. Cammie.
As we first alerted you last night, police arrested Stephen Priestler just 2 weeks after he posted a $100,000 cash bond for several drug charges. According to a city official, neighbors reported a disturbance at Priestler's home on South Baird Street. Police responded and took Priestler into custody. He's now accused of 2 more felonies, including possession of meth and bail jumping. As we first alerted you, Priestler was arrested at his home on South Baird July 14th. During that all-day investigation of the property, police reported finding $65,000 worth of meth as well as equipment to make illegal drugs. The district alderman says Priestler's home is a nuisance property. It's been that way for years. Brittany Schmidt joins us in the newsroom to tell us what action the city is taking right now. Brittany.
Cammie, the city of Green Bay is working to take possession of Priestler's property on Baird Street. The city started this court procedure this week, filing paperwork yesterday. In the documents, the city claims Priestler's home is a chronic nuisance property, calling it a drug house. Between September 2021 to July of this year, the Green Bay Police Department responded to more than 60 calls associated with Priestler's property. Green Bay Alderman Bill Galvin says it's a complicated procedure, but he believes the residents in the neighborhood deserve some action from the city.
It's not something you do very often. It's not something you really want to do. I mean, you want to give people a chance. It's their property, but when that property becomes such a problem for the community, steps have to be taken to protect the community. And I agree with their decision to try and take this home.
Alderman Gavin says this could take weeks or even months. According to court documents, Priestler has 20 days to respond. Cammie, Bill.
Welcome back to Action 2 News at 6. An accused Green Bay drug maker known internationally as Uncle Fester returned to Brown County Court today. He still does not have an attorney.
65-year-old Stephen Priestler faces numerous felony drug charges and accused of maintaining a drug house. While Priestler looks for representation, Brittany Schmidt details the court order allowing the city to temporarily keep his home under lock and key.
In these court documents, Action 2 News learned why the city of Green Bay is looking to take possession of Stephen Priestler's South Baird Street home and call it a chronic nuisance. The city laid out several reasons. More than 60 police calls to the property over the past 2 years, the discovery of an illicit drug lab in the basement, and tens of thousands of dollars worth of methamphetamine found in his home during a day-long investigation on July 14th. When Priestler was arrested, the city of Green Bay took immediate action on the home.
So I want to draw your attention to some of the things that were posted on the home behind me here.
We first alerted you to the condemnation sign 2 months ago. Condemnation only means no one is supposed to be in the home between 4:30 p.m. and 8 a.m. the next day. Recent filings show police found a person inside the home outside those hours. The person broke in and spent the night. As a result, the city boarded all windows on the first floor, including the sliding glass door. It's just one of several incidents a Green Bay city inspector reported to the court over the past few weeks. Recently, a neighbor told the inspector they saw Priestler go into his house through an open second-story window, using a ladder to climb in because he didn't have a key for the locks.
Because of all of those issues here at the property, during the temporary injunction and order for closure of the building, the court will allow members of the Brown County Drug Task Force and the city of Green Bay to enter this property at any time to ensure compliance and enforce it. Reporting in Green Bay, Brittany Schmidt, Action 2 News.